Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Butter What Show. I'm Pat Regan. This is my co-host, Brian C. Moses from briancmoses.com. And Brian and I have been talking about and arguing about and discussing keyboards for the last few. I mean, how many weeks ago did I make you buy a new keyboard, Tubby?
I bet you it's been a month, maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, like that.
I would guess.
It was after the last live stream, for sure.
Yes.
So it could be up to 5 weeks.
No, I mean, it was almost like right after it. You brought it up the day or two after. So I, for the longest time, have been using a full-size keyboard. I love it. I love everything about all of the keys, the numeric keypad. And Pat has been using a Tenkeyless keyboard now for...
This is the keyboard at Amazon that I'm using, right? It's a cheap keyboard. I haven't even gotten even a nice one yet. That I bought. It says September 25th, 2019.
So 2.5 years.
Is that 2.5 years? For a long time, I was using an IBM Model M keyboard. This one right here. Full-size keyboard, 101 keys. There's no Windows key or the Windows menu key, whatever that's called.
It didn't even exist when that keyboard was manufactured.
It did not. That one, I think, is from 1993. That's not a very old one. At a company I used to work at back in the 90s, we bought a bunch of the small Model M's. They were 10 keyless. It was just the 10 keys were lopped off, and it still had the arrow keys. But that's still a big keyboard because, the keyboard, it sticks 1.5 inches to the left. You still have another 1.5 inches to the right past the keys. There's a lot of keyboard there. And then my good friend Tim mailed me. He had a spare, very nice Razer Black Widow keyboard with green cherry switches. They're the heavy cherry switches. And I used that for a long time, and I liked it. And then I saw this deal on this funny, I'm not even going to try to say the brand on this keyboard, but this little, do you think it has 88 or 81 keys, Tubby? Because it says it has 81, but it's called the Z88.
We can pause and you can count them.
I don't want to count them. But I had to try it. It had blue switches. It was $25 at the time, and I said, we have to try it. All they've done is they scooch the arrow keys in. They're still there in the same upside down T. It still has all the function keys up at the top. And I'd hold this up, but I'm afraid I'd break the live stream. And they scooched in the home and page up and page down. Pretty much all the keys are there except for the other 10 keys. And I was goofed up for quite a while, Tubby. I did what you did sometimes. I'd bang on the number key, enter key. I would click on something, paste something in with just the mouse, because, on Linux I'm middle clicking to paste, so I don't even touch the keyboard. And I would just, tap the enter key with my thumb to... paste a URL in and hit go, but that's not an enter key on the corner. Is yours an enter key on the corner?
No.
But what I'm excited about, what I think everybody should be excited about, is that I've gotten to move my mouse to the left by 6 inches, it feels like. Does that seem about right?
I bet you that's about right. I mean, especially compared to your Model M, which had great big, huge... Is it still a bezel?
But yeah, it's like a bezel.
There was lots of plastic.
Yeah, and the Razer was not exactly... It had a bezel, too. Not a huge one. But what did you got a Royal Kluge.
I got a Royal Kluge RK84.
And I've got that opened up here in the...
Pat routinely posts deals in our Discord server, link down in the video description, and he has been, I don't want to say nagging. That's not the right word. Pat has been encouraging repeatedly, persistently, me to abandon my great big full size keyboard and try something smaller because of all of the benefits of the extra desk space that you get. And one of the things
I have a large desk, Tubby.
Yep.
But that's prime real estate. It's right in the middle.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was running into is I'm sitting right at my computer desk. The monitor's behind the camera, and then I have a tripod. There's just no room. I mean, I was constantly pushing the monitor back or pulling the keyboard towards me, and I could barely wedge it all in there. And Pat correctly said that a smaller keyboard would help solve all of that. But every time Pat suggested it, I told him, "You're wrong, Pat. I'm gonna hate when the numeric keypad goes away because I type numbers all the time. That's where I type numbers. I don't ever type them anywhere else. They're on the numeric keypad. The page up, home, and end buttons. I mean, in that place, I knew the minute that they moved, I would be trying to find them like this, and I was right. Pat
Brian,
was
do you know
even
why I have confidence in you? One time I flew home to visit my parents, and shortly after I got there, I called my wife, Chris. I said, "Chris, I have terrible news." I said, "My parents got a new toilet." And she said, "Well, what's so bad about that?" I'm like, "Well, Chris, I learned to poop on that toilet." And she said to me, "Don't worry, Pat. You'll learn to poop on this toilet too." And she was right.
Chris is smart.
Yeah.
But in fairness, you've been pooping in lots of other toilets since then.
That's true.
You've already demonstrated the ability to poop on different toilets.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not that much different. The toilets are basically the same all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah.
But I have confidence
it's not like it's
that you
84% of a toilet. I mean, if the toilet seat was smaller, you might be going, no, I can't do that.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, Pat kept telling me, and he even almost offered to eat a chicken McNugget if I didn't like the 84 keyboard.
I did. I said we've got to come up with a good bet, and we never figured it out. We did.
And when he said that, he didn't say that he would, but the minute that he said that, I said, "I'm going to order this so that on the next live stream, I get to make Patty a chicken McNugget."
He did.
But alas, he did not. He immediately started walking back the chicken McNugget idea. He's like, no,
Yeah.
We got to find something else to bet. I'll do anything. I'll drive an automatic sports car. I don't know what would.
These are all terrible things, Tubby. These are all terrible things. Now, I had a weird problem when I switched keyboards last time. Because it's like yours. It doesn't have much bezel in the front where, these parts of your fingers rest. And that Razer keyboard, it might have had a little extension up there, like not a rest, but and I'd be in here in the dark and we'd be playing Team Fortress 2, Tubby, and I would put my hands down by the keyboard. And I didn't think I was there. I had to look down. I'd be looking for the lights, trying to figure out. Yeah, because this wasn't touching it. I couldn't. I was like, something ain't right.
Something's weird about it.
It's just weird. Yeah.
And that's really been my biggest challenge. Is just 40 years, a lot of years of muscle memory of where
Brian
of
had
where
his
keys
50th
are.
birthday today.
Almost 46. I have been doing mostly okay. I do fantastic as long as I don't have to do anything to the right. Like, I no longer I no longer page up, page down, control home to go to the top of the document, control N to go to none of that works for me anymore. Well, it does. I go like this. First I try it and then I miss, and that makes me mad. And then I glare at the keyboard and I stare right at my fingers, and that makes me even a little bit more mad.
And I'm looking, yours is about the same. You have an extra key. You have an extra control key that I'm missing.
Are you jealous?
No.
Do you want mine?
I would never be able to hit that. I'd miss that. But
yeah, I don't know.
I also have my delete key is also. Oh, you have two more keys. You have at least two more keys than I do, Tubby. I don't have a pause and a print screen up there. Those are double duty on home and end. You have to hit function home and end to get pause.
Oh, okay.
And I get insert by hitting function delete. I don't know when the last time I've ever toggled insert mode.
I never toggle it on purpose, but I turn it back on purpose.
Now your Royal Kluge 84 says it's a 75% keyboard, and that's about what mine is. 75% basically means it's 10 keyless. If you go down to 60%, they take the whole row of function keys off the top. And
Yeah, I would hate that.
I would be a bummed out. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not prime real estate up there. I'm never looking to put more stuff in front of my keyboard, very rarely. But this spot over here where my mouse goes, having that 6 inches closer it's nice. I don't know if you can see me doing this over here, but I'm doing it. I'm reaching. Have you missed your mouse? Like, have you gone over and you, like, overshoot it by 8 feet? Like when you get in a car that's an automatic and you put your foot through the floor because there's no clutch?
I haven't missed my mouse. I must be pretty good at understanding
where you left
the
it.
edge, the far edge of the keyboard and getting back to it. The thing that I do most frequently is I press enter. I press that right enter key when I don't mean to. When I'm hunting for something else. I don't know why that is. I feel that key over there. That other key, I don't know. But that's the thing that I do all the time. Pat knows because
it took me a
time,
while to stop doing that. Whatever I used to do with my thumb to hit that enter key, that extra enter key.
Yeah.
And it's not like I could remap that. That's an arrow key. Yeah. Oh, and those 60% keyboards don't usually have the set of arrow keys. And
okay.
I don't want to lose those because what if I want to play an old DOS game that needs arrow keys? I gotta have them, right? And I'm really interested in all the. I've been especially looking at this dactyl keyboard. These oddly laid out,
very weird,
with lots of thumb keys. I would love to have one, but I'm afraid of what happens if I try to play a first-person shooter.
Yeah,
because you're not moving your. If you move your fingers over to WAS and D, now the space bar, all the thumb keys are wrong. And people on the internet tell me, well, you just set up a layer so that all the keys shift virtually and you don't move your finger. But then what happens when I want to talk in text chat? Now I've got to make sure I switch layers.
A conundrum.
Yeah, and then you've got to make sure you get back. It just seems terrifying. And that's at least 5% of my sitting at the desk time is playing video games. So I don't want to screw that up.
I knew that I would hate not having a numeric keypad. And I was absolutely right about that. And a bunch of people on the internet said to just get a USB numeric keypad for those times that I needed it. But
so every time you get a text message with the 6-digit code to put in, you could unpack the number pad from your laptop bag, plug in, punch in the 6-digit code, and then tidy it up and put it away.
Those are the codes that I'm finding that I miss, that I type most frequently. No, I want to solve that some other way. Let's get away from passwords and dual factor authentication codes.
The only auth code I've been having to put in since I got that new laptop, especially, I've been noticing, is my Steam codes, and they're always letters.
Yep.
So I said, thank goodness, Steam. Thank you for not making me type numbers.
I have a whole list of things that I've set up dual factor authentication, using Google Authenticator, and I had no idea how many of those I had set up until I didn't have a numeric keypad anymore.
Now that you've been doing this for about a month, now what'll be interesting, I went over to Chris's desk where she has that old Razer Black Widow. It's not that old of a keyboard. It's a nice keyboard. I sat at her desk and I was like, my God, the keyboard, it's so wide. You'll be. I'd feel so weird with a big keyboard, but I don't know what I'm trying to ask you. Really, I
still have the full size keyboard at my other desk where I do all of my work, and it's not weird because I do enough work during the week that it's more like, I don't know what the right way to say it is.
Yeah, you're splitting your time anyway.
I'm way more familiar once I get back over there. I'm more confident in typing, and I know that I don't have to look at my fingers when I'm doing something. And I kind of feel like I always have to look at my fingers over here. I don't know the right way to fix that. I'm half tempted to just get another
little guy.
Get another guy and use it over there so that I get better. But
you're slowing down your adoption rate. Something. Your comfort's going to take longer to get there.
Yeah. But I like it. I'm using it in the wireless, its wireless ability. I like that it's wireless. I like that right now I didn't have to tug on my keyboard as hard as I could to get it away from, where my camera's newer, even bigger tripod is. So
Yeah.
I think I'll stay. I think I'll stay with it. I don't think you'll have to eat a chicken nugget.
But really, what I want to know, Tubby, what would you say to the people out in the audience out on YouTube? What would you tell people? If there's a $25 micro keyboard, 74% or whatever this is, should you give one a try? Is it worth 20 or 30 bucks for an experiment? If you're a
I think I'd encourage someone to try it out. I mean, I think it really depends. It's really subjective. It's one of those things like, I don't know what kind of coffee you like, your favorite potato chips. There's not really not a wrong answer. I would say if you're like me and you're saying, no, I have to have a full-size keyboard, I'm gonna hate it, and the only way that I'll try it out is if you'll eat it, if my friend will eat a chicken nugget on his live stream. If you're like that, I'd say, hey, give it a try, because you might be surprised what you find out.
Yeah. And you might be surprised how few numbers you actually type in a day.
Yeah. I'd say definitely give it a try. If you see a cheap one, buy it, pick it up, try it out. You can never have too many keyboards, I've found.
It's nice to have spares.
Yeah, spare keyboards are nice to have around. So if you had a spare, Tenkeyless keyboard that you wound up hating, it would do in a pinch, with another computer, or if,
or if you have to plug something into a server or something like a server or Raspberry Pi or something.
Or if you spilled coffee all over your keyboard at the beginning of a live stream and the keyboard quit working.
Yep. You know what was nice, Tubby? These are hot swap keys on mine. So and it came with some spares. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, this one did too.
Yeah, I put spares in and I think I might have been one short. I think one was still a little sticky. But when I started building Jeremy's macro pads, I had all kinds of extra blue switches, so I snuck one in.
You did a good job.
That's the next thing I want to try is upgrading these switches. I put into Google and I found a couple of Reddit posts that told me which key switch I would like if I really like the Model M buckling springs. They said, you got to try this box pink skin tone. I don't know what it was called. I said, maybe I should just get 84 of them or whatever it is and fill up this keyboard and see if I like them. But there's a nice keyboard like this. There's a custom keyboard everybody builds, and we should look up the name, and I'll write it down here because I don't know. It looks just like our keyboards, except the top corner key on the over on the number pad side is a knob.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that.
Yeah, and there might be more than one of them, but that one's expensive though. That's like something like $150 for the kit. And then you have to put it together. It's not a cheap. I don't know why it's not a cheap. But
got a knob.
I like having the knob. I use the knob at video editing all the time. But you guys out on YouTube, all of our friends out there, if you're using a different size or shape or weird keyboard or one of those nifty split keyboards or something, let us know what you're using in the comments and what we should check out. Because I'm very tempted to try a split keyboard.
I want to make Pat play TF2 with a split keyboard.
Yeah, it'd be okay until... Yeah, there's a couple of FPSs, like, usually G is your grenade key. That'll be on the correct hand still. But then, every now and then, something uses H for something much less used. That'd be on the other keyboard.
Other side.
Yeah, where your mouse... On your mouse hand. I don't know how... I think I'd be okay at TF2, Tubby. It would be once we got to... And split isn't too bad. If it's split with the same spacebar, you could still shift your hand back and forth. But if it's one of those keyboards that I want that has like 4 or 5 keys for each thumb, then you stop reaching for things with your pinky. You put enter on a thumb key. Things like that so you don't reach. I'd love to do that, but I think it would goof me up a lot. But Brian,
every game you would play.
Twitter will tell me when you want to play TF2, just pack up the little keyboard and put a real keyboard on your desk. But I don't want to do that.
It's good to have spare keyboards. Yeah, that's a lot of work. I think that'd be a barrier to playing video games.
Yeah.
That'd be a bummer.
I want less friction getting towards playing video games.
Stop working so hard. Play more video games.
Yes.